Warrior cats. We all love warrior cats. It's the entire basis for my channel and most likely the reason you're here. Of course, if it's not why you're here, I don't know how you got here, but welcome. Warrior cats is how my channel started, so I love the series. But sometimes we have to shake things up a little bit. I can only draw so many kitties before I'm losing my mind in tabby markings. So, what is a girl to do when she wants to draw warrior cats, but she doesn't want to draw cats? Enter lions. Technically still cats, but we'll overlook that. Since the beginning of my channel, I have gotten endless requests to draw lions based off of the game ClanGen. I've made a ClanGen dog pack and horse herd, so it totally makes sense for me to do another different type of ClanGen. However, for the longest time, I wasn't sure how to go about doing this. I love lions, don't get me wrong, but they're not particularly unique. They're all brown. I would get bored drawing them so quickly until I came up with a different idea. Let's make a group of big cats, not just lions, and let's make it fantasy. They don't have to have realistic coat patterns or coats or anything realistic at all. For a couple weeks now, I've been brainstorming this brand new world where big cats rule the land. This world has been super inspiring and is exactly the mixture of realism and fantasy I needed to make a ClanGen lion pride work for me. In this world, wild cats roam free and are the rulers of the land. From the smallest of sand cats to the largest of tigers, all sorts of cats roam these lands. Long ago, the cats lived in harmony with one another. Most cats were solitary and only came together as mates or in territory disputes. However, there was one type of cat that surpassed the others: lions. The lions grouped together in prides that were easily able to defend themselves and snuff out any solitary cats encroaching on their land. Territory wasn't the only thing the lions were fighting for, though. The lion prides believed they were the ultimate species of cat, and that they should rule the land as kings and queens. At this time, any cat found living independently was captured as a prisoner or killed for not conforming. The reign of terror caused by the lions is a bloody history in the past of this world, and to many it seemed there was no escape from the tyranny. If the other cats were ever going to escape the domination of the lions, they would need to band together into prides of their own. Cats of all shapes and sizes grouped together to form the first colonies and end the reign of terror imposed by the lion prides. Cut to today, and the colonies remain strong. Although the Great War is over, this world is still war-torn and cruel. The colonies that formed to protect independent cats from the lions have now started to demand more power and more land. They're becoming the very thing they swore to prevent. The four main colonies include Breeze Colony in the north, Ibis Colony to the south, Ember Colony to the west, and Owl Colony of the east. Although their leaders have changed over the years, their mission remains the same. Any cat is worthy of life and happiness, regardless of their species. At least that's what they say their mission is. So, with that brief lore lesson, let's dive into the newest, unrecognized colony of the land, Flame Colony. Lyrestar was born in Ember Colony. This colony is run by a fierce leader who takes very little input from his constituents. Many of the Ember Colony cats find comfort in being told exactly what they should and shouldn't do, but Lyrestar thought there had to be a better way. The colonies were growing far too similar to the lion prides of old they had fought so fiercely to destroy, and the young leopard couldn't stand to see this happen. As a young apprentice, Lyre's mother met a tragic fate while in a battle with Owl Colony. After that, there was nothing tying her to Ember Colony anymore. As a very young cat, she left the colony to create her own. Although she had no blood family left, Lyrestar had a very supportive father figure in a large male tiger named Lolly. He encouraged her to push forward and make a path for herself in this cruel, ruthless world. Lyrestar imagined a colony that wouldn't be ruled by a queen, but rather cultivated by a leader. The young leopard called her colony Flame Colony. If her old home were embers, then they would smolder away, but her new colony would light the night like a flame. And like moths to this flame, cats have been flanking to Lyrestar for her leadership. She's charismatic and she has a strong conviction to do what is right. The young leopard wants her colony to operate on respect and democracy, and not the will of the strongest cats. Flame Colony is still quite small, so it isn't even recognized as a true colony. In fact, at the last gathering, Lyrestar wasn't even permitted to speak. Despite this lack of respect from the other leaders, there is one cat who is keenly focused on the development of Flame Colony, Icestar. The current leader of Ember Colony, Icestar is certainly aware of how passionate Lyrestar can be. The young leopard is clever. If any cat could find a way to topple the monarchy he has so carefully built, it would be Lyrestar. So, what better way to keep tabs on the newest colony but to plant spies? Scorchtuft may be deputy of Flame Colony, but he is secretly a spy for Icestar. The older Caracal reports regularly to his true leader about the movements and decisions of Flame Colony. He's well liked and trusted, which means no one would ever suspect he was involved in anything nefarious. Although his true loyalty and devotion lie with Icestar, Scorchtuft can't help but agree with some of Lyrestar's points. Perhaps he could be persuaded in the future to leave his life of espionage. A true medicine cat is difficult to come by in these lands. The world is war-ravaged, so very few cats are willing to take on the sheer amount of work required of a medicine cat. As a smaller bobcat, Ghostscale felt she wouldn't be particularly useful in a battle. Light on her paws and clever as a fox, Ghostscale was more equipped than she realized, but still, her passions were in the medicine den. Originally from Ibis Colony, Ghostscale learned the ways of a medicine cat from her mentor Appleseed. The old fishing cat taught Ghostscale everything she knew. Some trouble stirred in Ibis Colony that forced Ghostscale to abandon her home in search of a new place. Lyrestar, charismatic as ever, quickly convinced Ghostscale to join her new budding colony. At first, Ghostscale was pleased to have only a few cats to care for, but then the war began. As more and more cats were injured, Ghostscale couldn't keep up with the pressure. The poor bobcat grew so stressed and overwhelmed that she had a heart attack and died. And now Flame Colony has no medicine cat and no way of getting a new one. Frostflick had always been ambitious. Her life as a warrior in Ember Colony was boring. She craved more influence within the colony. When Scorchtuft, her mate, was secretly selected to spy on Lyrestar, Frostflick pounced on the opportunity to join him. The snow leopard quickly settled into the much higher-ranking role of mediator for Flame Colony. Since joining, Frostflick is far happier with her high rank, and even had a pair of cubs with her mate. She isn't a spy like Scorchtuft is, but she knows well what her mate does behind Lyrestar's back. However, if Scorchtuft were found out, Frostflick would claim innocence to save her own hide. She enjoys the role of mediator far too much, and she won't have Scorchtuft and Icestar's plans screwing that up for her. Lolly is an older tiger, and he has certainly seen a lot. Always preferring to be alone, Lolly had spent the majority of his years as a loner living in the unclaimed lands surrounding the colonies. Many cats prefer this life, but it's far more dangerous. Rogue groups take advantage of lone cats. Lolly lost his prey, mate, and tail to one of these invasions. After that, the tiger decided to live much closer to the protection of the colonies. That's when he met Lyrestar's mother. The female leopard was just as charming and charismatic as her daughter. Lolly adored her and her single cub. They never became mates, but Lyrestar considered this weird loner tiger to be a father figure for her. What Lyrestar doesn't know is that on her mother's deathbed, she made Lolly swear that he would always care for her daughter. That would be incredibly difficult for him since he remained a loner and the young Lyrepaw lived amongst Ember Colony. Lolly encouraged the young apprentice to leave and follow her heart. He truly wants to see Lyrestar succeed, but he also knew it would be easier to watch over her if she lived as a loner or created a colony of her own that he could join. Amberspots is another loner who joined Lyrestar after the leopard gave her the grand speech of inclusivity and teamwork. The Grey Jaguar had never heard of a colony leader that seemed to care so deeply for their colony members' feelings and opinions. At first, Amberspots was not convinced and wanted nothing to do with colony life. But then her relationship with the colony cats grew strained. She had made her home on the outskirts of Owl's territory, and a trio of leopards from the colony were not pleased with this. For moons, Amberspots was the target of harassment, and she was beaten until finally she couldn't stand it any longer. The jaguar escaped the abuse and found a new home in Flame Colony. She's quite pleased to be in her new home, although she keeps to herself most of the time. She's even more pleased that the colony is at war with Owl Colony. Amberspots eagerly awaits the day she can enact her revenge on the vile trio of leopards that treated her so poorly. She's not a bloodthirsty cat, but she does believe those cats should get what they deserve. One day, a battle will begin, and those stupid leopards won't know what hit them when Amberspots ambushes them from the trees. Tawnyflash, despite her young age, has lived a full life. Some lions live amongst the colonies, while others keep the traditional way of prides. Tawnyflash was born into one of these prides that insisted that lions were still far superior to other cats. Tragically, or thankfully, depending on who you ask, a horrible famine wiped out all of Tawnyflash's pride while she was still a young cub. She grew up as a loner, who hadn't already been indoctrinated by the lions. She's not elitist like some lions can be, and doesn't see herself as any better than any other cat. Tawnyflash joined Lyrestar and Flame Colony because she craved the unit of a family. She would never have her family pride back, but she could make a family of her own within Flame Colony. Silentmark was originally from Owl Colony, but left as a young apprentice. The young cougar couldn't stand to see the aggressive nature of her colony. They had been steadily stealing land from their neighbors and starting unnecessary border fights that would end in deaths. Silentmark refused to be involved with the deaths of innocent cats and chose to leave her home as an apprentice. The cougar had a sister she left behind in Owl Colony. Despite all of Silentmark's pleas, her sister refused to leave their home and couldn't find any faults with their actions. Silentmark is terrified that she'll one day soon meet her sister in battle, now that Flame Colony is at war with Owl Colony. The young cougar worries that she'll be forced to choose between loyalty to her colony or loyalty to her sister. The outcome could mean life or death for many cats on either side of the war. One of the largest cats in the colony is Dovestripe, a gorgeous golden tiger. This male is handsome and he certainly knows it. He takes very good care of his coat and ensures it's gleaming at all times. Even in battle, he can be spotted from a mile away because of his glittering golden coat. Dovestripe is quite young and was born outside of the colonies. At a couple months old, his mother abandoned him and he was luckily found by Frostflick and her mate Scorchtuft. They unofficially adopted the tiger cub and he was raised in Flame Colony. He is an incredibly strong and disciplined cat who was unfortunately injured in the latest battle with Owl Colony. His perfect, beautiful face was slashed by an enemy tiger. He is eager to give this Owl Colony tiger a scar just like his own. He's got a little bit of a grudge. Ghostscale is just a little lad. He was found as a very young cub in the Flame Colony territory with very little memory of his life before. There is a theory that his mother could be the medicine cat of Ember Colony, Hailfur. She is one of the few clouded leopards in the colonies, and it would just make too much sense, since medicine cats are forbidden from having cubs. Either way, Ghostscale doesn't care much about who his mother is. He considers Amberspots to be an honorary mother figure for him, and he's pleased with that. He's a sensitive little guy and can be a bit emotional at times, but he's quite clever. Many cats underestimate him because he's small and demure and wears ladybugs in his pelt, but Ghostscale is quite smart and agile. Besides, clouded leopards are one of the few large cats that can rotate their wrists and ankles to climb easily. They can even climb upside down. So, Ghostscale may be small, but he would certainly have stealth on his side in a battle. Boulderfreckle is, again, another cat found amongst the territory as a young cub. Unfortunately, due to the aggressive nature of the colonies, many cubs end up orphaned. It's a tragic consequence of the world the colonies have created, and another problem Lyrestar seeks to resolve by creating her own better colony. Boulderfreckle is a lovely female cheetah who looks incredibly beautiful and completely unapproachable. She's that really tall, really beautiful woman that never gets asked on a date because she's just far too intimidating. Boulderfreckle looks intimidating, and to be honest, she is. She's quite cold and unfriendly towards cats she doesn't know. She really loved Grouseknoll, but once the medicine cat died, Boulderfreckle shut out any other cat completely. Ghostscale would really like to be her friend. He dangles by his hind feet from tree branches to try and make Boulderfreckle laugh, but she won't budge. She doesn't find him charming, and quite frankly, she doesn't need any friends. Thank you very much. Now, here's where some of the fantasy elements I spoke about in the beginning sort of come into play. Frostflick, a snow leopard, and Scorchtuft, a caracal, are mates, and they had cubs. In real life, this is completely ridiculous. However, in this fantasy cat world, we can do whatever we want. So, I would like to introduce you guys to Wisteriapaw and Fadedpaw, the caracal snow leopard hybrids. These two are quite spicy cubs with bold attitudes. They aren't mean, but they're both incredibly confident little scamps. Their dad is the deputy, and their mom is the mediator, so they're practically royalty. Fadedpaw, on the left, is the male, and he's a little more adventurous than his sister. He's actually got a pretty serious tail wound from a run-in with a small pack of wild dogs. Nasty little beasts ripped the fur clean off his tail. Wisteriapaw is a little more clever and snarky than her brother. She's got a good nature, and she enjoys teasing the big cats, playfully of course. They are almost warriors now, so I've drawn them a little young here, but I really wanted to draw some cubs, so you'll have to pardon the fact that they look like they're only a couple months old. What do you guys think of the hybridization? Did I do a good job at mixing the two parent cat species? Next, we have another apprentice, Frozenpaw. Again, this little girl was found by the colony as a young cub and grew into an adventurous young apprentice. She thoroughly enjoyed getting to explore with Fadedpaw and Wisteriapaw until she became ill. The poor tiger cub is wretchedly sick. Without a medicine cat, she has a low chance of surviving. But without a medicine cat and with red cough, Frozenpaw has almost zero chance of surviving. She knows this, and she's so scared of what her future may hold. She hopes and prays every night to the starry colonies that they would send a cat to heal her. I'm worried she won't make it much longer. Finally, we have Breezepatch, the colony's only elder. This lion lived in a pride her entire life and was fully on board with everything they preached. Breezepatch thought herself superior to other cats simply because she was born a lion. However, as she grew up and spoke to more cats outside of her pride, the more Breezepatch disagreed with the way she was raised. Finally, one day, the lion spoke up to her pride and was promptly exiled for her radical views. Breezepatch was despondent and alone when Lyrestar found her. Breezepatch was relieved to find a cat who agreed with her own visions of what a better society could look like. A happy colony for any cat to live in peacefully, regardless of species. Now, I've mentioned the other colonies quite a few times, so I'd like to introduce you guys to the neighbors of Flame Colony. First, we have Lyrestar, the leader of Breeze Colony in the north. This colony is praised for their logical thinking and pragmatic approach to life. Lyrestar is shrewd and can think quickly on her feet. You'll rarely ever catch this cheetah off guard. She runs her colony very strictly because she believes she's the smartest cat in the entire land. Second guessing or talking back to Gossamer Star is a quick way to get on her bad side. Their territory is largely coniferous forest and a large savanna with few trees closer to the mountains. All of these clans have been randomly generated, so if any of you guys would like to create any designs for the named characters on screen, please feel free. If a Breeze Colony apprentice, like Lightpaw for instance, were to join Flame Colony, I may use your design for Lightpaw, if you share it with me and you want me to, and then they would be a part of the video. I also thought it would help the world feel so much more alive to have all the characters named from each colony. Next is Ember Colony, who is of course run by Lyrestar. His colony is known for being gracious and forgiving, but it's all an act for those on the outside. Inside the colony, Lyrestar rules over his cats like a king. He is respected and seen as a visionary by his dearest friends. If he isn't given his due respect, Lyrestar will take it with force. The lion can have a very short fuse. He demands praise for the most minor of accomplishments and is much more of a dictator than a leader. Their territory is to the west and includes the wetlands and a bit of a marshy area. There is also a large forest that's prone to wildfires. An important cat in this clan is Hailfur, the medicine cat. She's one of the only clouded leopards in the colonies and may be Ghostscale's mother. So, if you design Hailfur, maybe try to make her look a little bit like Ghostscale. And next we have Ibis Colony, which is led by Morningstar. This young serval is far more similar to Lyrestar than she lets on. The other colonies are none the wiser to her sneaky, conniving nature. Morningstar has plans of her own that require Lyrestar's cooperation, but nobody knows what the leader of Ibis Colony has up her sleeve. She keeps her cards close and trusts very few. A notable cat in this clan is Appleseed, the medicine cat, who is a fishing cat and was Grouseknoll's mentor. She would have been devastated to learn of the bobcat's early demise. Next is the ruthless Owl Colony. Once the wisest of the colonies, Owl Colony has become quite the wasteland under the leadership of Bonestar. The tiger has little respect for the lands he lives in, and has permitted his colony to overhunt their land to near desolation. Now he's scrambling to steal land on his borders, including the land Flame Colony has decided to settle in. Within this colony are the 3 leopards that terrorized Amberspots to the point of her needing to escape to Flame Colony. Thunderleg, Tansyroot, and Sandbriar are all the leopards responsible for the torment. If you decide to make character designs for them, make sure they're vicious-looking leopards. And that's all for the beginning of Flame Colony. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the lore and backstory I created for this. If you enjoyed, please let me know. It was a lot of work, so the number of views and comments will help me decide if you guys actually enjoyed this video and if I should make a series out of it. So if you would like a part 2, please let me know down below. And if you do design any of the extra characters from the other colonies, please share them with me either on YouTube, or you can email them to me, or you can send them to me on the Discord, which I will have links to all of those in the description. So thank you so much for watching, and if you join me for my next video, I'll see you then.